What's going on, everybody? It's Sasha, your licensed real estate market expert here in Charlotte, and today we are doing our monthly market report. Now, as always, if there's any questions I can answer for you about these specific numbers, about any specific areas, neighborhoods, zip codes, you can always call, text, or email me anytime. All my contact information is right here and linked down below. Now, I might scare you here in a second. We're gonna go over some numbers in regards to nationwide real estate before we hop into Charlotte, which is what that's my expertise, is the Charlotte and surrounding areas. But 3 weeks ago, I paid $700 for a 1 hour coaching call with someone that has been in the real estate industry for over 20 years. They sell over $200 million worth of real estate every year, and they're very well respected. They have a lot of connections. And essentially, the first 15 minutes of that call was spent going over the nationwide real estate market numbers. The second 15 minutes was spent diving into Charlotte and things like that, where I could take advantage of and things I should be paying attention to a little bit more in our real estate market. And then the last 30 minutes was spent on some things that I want to do with my business and how to help me get to where I want to be in regards to my next phase here in real estate. So with that being said, I want to hop into some of these numbers that kind of scared me in regards to nationwide residential real estate. This is not Charlotte. This is nationwide. Unfortunately, I have all my notes here, so I have to take a look at them. Nationwide residential real estate. Listing inventory is up 24% year over year. Now, you might be asking yourself, if it's up 24% year over year, why haven't we seen a more dramatic effect in the nationwide real estate market? The answer to that is we're already at relatively extremely low levels. So even though it's 24%, because we started so low, it just doesn't have too much an effect. However, the effect will come if we come to next year and we have another 24+% and we start getting those building blocks to inventory, which honestly, the low supply is the only thing keeping the house prices up at where they are now. U.S. jobless claims jumped to highest level in 8 months. This isn't too dramatic, but I'm sure you guys have seen, Tesla laid off, I believe, 15,000 workers. Google laid off a good amount of workers. In the areas that this is happening, like Austin, Texas, they're already having price declines coming, and now this is a bigger bombshell for people to handle. Now, there are talks about banks and bank failures and things like that happening. Charlotte is still holding relatively strong. I just don't want you to think that it's outside the realm of possibility for something like this to happen in Charlotte. March of 2024 was the worst month for mortgage applications since 1995. The worst month for mortgage applications in the last 30 years. Another stat, 31% of houses that are on active status, which means they are actively listed right now, you can take a look at them, you can go buy them, have had one or more price reductions. Almost a third of the homes are having a price reduction that are currently sitting on the market. This actually is relatively true. I would probably say 1 out of 4, maybe 1 out of 5, this rings true in the Charlotte area, but we might be creeping up to 1/3 of the houses doing price reductions. New build, new construction, pricing is down 15% from the peak of 22. So nationwide, new construction is down 15% in regards to their real estate pricing nationwide since our all-time highs of 2022. We are seeing this in the Charlotte area. Some of the surrounding areas in Charlotte, that these communities literally had people camping out, doing raffle tickets. Normally new construction, they don't do multiple offer situations, but I know communities that were doing it in the peak of 22, and now there's so many communities. If you just go online, type in brand new construction, and just do a map of all around the Charlotte area, you're going to see a lot of places that have had price declines. So that particular stat I think does pertain to the Charlotte area. Now, another one that I had no idea about and that seems like it's a little bit hidden. Now, a lot of these stats were taken from the St. Louis Fred, JP Morgan Chase, Yahoo Finance. If you type it in Google, you can find all this stuff. This one is a little bit more scary. Mortgage delinquency rates, meaning someone has not made their mortgage payment in 30 plus days. We all know when you have a mortgage payment, it's due every 30 days, but they give you that extra 15 days. So to be honest with you, it's more like 45 to 60 days in mortgage delinquency. 10.8% of FHA loans are 30 plus days in default. That is only 3% less than the peak of the Great Financial Crisis. 4.07% of VA loans are in default 30 days plus. 2.61% of conventional loans are in 30-day plus in default. Now, this is a lot of stuff that is in the pipeline. I asked my real estate coach, if all these houses are in default and these people aren't making payments, why aren't we starting to see the short sales, the REOs, the bank-owned properties? Why aren't we starting to see those hit the market? FHA and VA loans are actually backed by the government. And for what I understand is they are packaging up these loans, these non-performing assets, and selling them to these venture capitalist companies at a relatively good discount. What could happen in the future? Could some of this information get disclosed? Could some certain neighborhoods that have a lot of these venture capitalist owned houses start going down in price because they sold to these venture capitalist companies at a discount? I'm honestly uncertain. It's definitely a possibility, but I had no idea that we had this number of delinquencies happening. Now, this is just something I wanted to share with you, and this was probably 7 to 8 minutes of our conversation when we first got started, and it absolutely terrified me because Charlotte, although it's the most, I love this city. It's amazing. I think we're just getting started as far as the growth. I think the next 10 to 20 years is going to be amazing. You know, there's so much upside, but the reason I wanted to go over this with you, I did a live last month, my monthly live Q&A where you can come on, ask me any questions. And somebody left a comment that it didn't necessarily bother me, but their train of thought bothered me. The comment was, Charlotte market is strong, nothing will bring it down. I don't like when I see stuff like that. I don't like when I see people being a little bit too lax on certain things like that, especially when it comes to a big asset like real estate. And one of my favorite quotes by Warren Buffett, you don't know who's skinny dipping until the tide goes out. And the reason I wanted to mention this and some of these other stats as far as nationwide is because you need to be careful. You need to tread carefully. Make sure you're in a good position. Make sure you can afford to buy a home. Make sure you're comfortable buying a home, whether it be a primary, whether it be an investment property. I just don't want someone to think everything is sunshine and rainbows, everything is peaches and cream, and nothing can go wrong. Because normally when the masses start thinking that nothing can go wrong, things do go wrong. Now, I just wanted to share that with you because I thought it was super fascinating. And again, I focus in on Charlotte market only. I don't look at the surrounding, but sometimes what's happening in the surrounding can be an indication of what might happen in our own backyard. Now, with that being said, we're about to hop into the stats. I just need to tell you this right now. We had the biggest jump in new listings in the month of April than we've seen in any other month in 2023. I'm going to repeat it. We had the biggest jump in new listings than any other month in the entire year of 2023 this past April. We're going to hop into the stats. We're going to dive in. But before we do that, hit the subscribe button. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of some of the numbers of the year that I had mentioned. And also, really quick, what am I seeing in the market right now? There's a lot of multiple offers happening. Nothing has changed on that front. There are a good amount of multiple offers happening for the move-in, the turnkey houses that are in good areas and things like that, which, nothing has really stopped on that front. It's always been that way. It will always be that way, especially when the house is priced accordingly. And I've seen a lot of houses sell for $50,000, $100,000 over the asking price. That is also still happening in our market. I don't want that to deter you because there are deals out there. Be patient, have your search set up, have your pre-approval. There are deals to be found out there. I just got our appraisal back the other day for a condo I'm helping somebody purchase here in the Charlotte area. Our appraisal came in over $21,000 above the price that we got it for. $21,000 of built-in equity before we even close on the place is pretty amazing. So there are deals to be had. Another thing that I want you guys to watch out for that I've been seeing pop up these last couple months is problems with insurance. Florida specifically is going through a drastic change with their condos because their insurance premiums are spiking through the roof and people can't afford it. And we're starting to see things like that here in Charlotte. Luckily for us, we don't live so close to the coast where we have to worry about hurricanes and all these natural disasters and things like that. We don't have these crazy insurance premiums that some of these other states have. But right now, what I'm seeing it with roofs. These insurance companies are giving buyers so much pushback if a roof is 13, 14, 15 years old. It's absolutely crazy. They're doing things to help you get closed on the home. And then what they're doing after you're closed, they'll come back out in a month, 2 or 3 months, actually reevaluate your roof and let you know if you have coverage or not. So instead of you locking in $150 a month for your roof insurance, if they come back out and say, hey, we can't insure this roof, even though it's 15 years old, we just don't want to insure it because it doesn't look, it doesn't look that good. It's got a little bit of damage. Instead of paying $150, now you have to pay $250 or you have to find another provider. And this is causing a lot of hiccups for people that are under contract. Because if you can't get your house insured, you can't close on the home. So make sure you're doing your due diligence when looking at things like roof. Make sure you talk to an insurance agent maybe prior to submitting an offer and make sure you can get the roof insured if it's going to be an issue, if it's not. This will save you a big headache and potentially losing your due diligence deposit on something that you can be proactive at and avoid from happening. Now, with that being said, let's hop into the Charlotte numbers. As long as you're watching these monthly market reports and know what's happening here in the Charlotte area, you're going to be in good shape. You're not going to get caught skinny dipping in this market. So just pay attention to these numbers and keep in mind every neighborhood is different, every subdivision is different, every zip code is different. So you need to hone in on those zip codes, on those areas, if you want some more information, and feel free to reach out to me if you need help doing so. In regards to new listings, we had 5,175 new listings in the month of April, and that is a 17% increase from this time last year. And as I mentioned, in the month of April, we had more new listings than any other month in the entire year of 2023. Normally, we start to see the market heat up around mid-March all the way up until August, September. But this jump that we had, I'm hoping, is a very good indicator of more inventory starting to build up. And if we have a little bit less demand each month than we do inventory, we start building those building blocks to having a lot more inventory, which is happening. We'll go over that stat. You guys know the one I'm talking about near the end of this video. Moving on to pending sales, we had 4,250 home sales pending. That is a 3.6% increase from this time last year. The market is still moving. People are still buying, but new listings up 17% and pending sales up 3.6%. We are looking at about, I'm horrible at math, 13% discrepancy between new listings and pending sales, which has given us that building block of more inventory. Normally, I don't cover closed sales, but closed sales came in at 3,592. That is actually 2.9% decrease from this time last year. So it's showing us that some of these houses that are pending, that are under contract, are not making it to the closing table. And this number is going down. A lot more people, due to the high interest rates, are having trouble getting to the closing table. Their debt to income ratios are off, and essentially the bank doesn't feel comfortable loaning them the money to afford the house. Days on market came in at 37, 7.5% decline from this time last year. And again, this is just showing us a relative days on market. So on average, you can expect 37 days on market. This 100% varies on the home itself, on the neighborhood itself. There's houses that come on the market on Thursday or Friday. My dog. There's houses that come on the market on Thursday, Friday. They sell within a day or two. They have multiple offers. And then you have a lot of houses that are also sitting for a couple weeks, if not months. The stats will tell you, anytime I go on a seller appointment, I give sellers a range. Hey, based off of everything that's sold, this is how quickly you can expect your house to sell. And you'd be surprised how accurate those numbers are when you niche in on a specific neighborhood. Next up, average sales price, which hit the highest we have ever seen. Average sales price came in at just above $500,000, and that is a 9.2% increase from this time last year. It's the highest average sales price that Charlotte has ever seen. I mentioned this in all the other videos. We have a lot of higher price properties, 7, 800, million, 2 million, 3 million plus, and the average brings up the rest of those housing prices. So for a little bit more accuracy, I like to look at the median price point, and the median price point came in at $390,000, and that's a 4% increase from this time last year. The highest our median price point ever was $400,000. So right now we're 10,000 under the highest we've ever been. And it's going to be very fascinating to see if we're going to surpass the 400,000 or if we're going to hit the 400,000 and maybe run into a little turbulence and start going back down. But we'll see. Percentage of the original list price received came in at 97.7. What this is essentially telling you is that you can expect to pay 3.3% below the listed price of a home when you're closed. That's going to include if you negotiated any concessions, any repairs. But again, on a case-by-case basis. The houses that are getting the multiple offers, generally you will not get this essential discount for the home. But for the houses that have been sitting on the market for a couple of weeks and or months, you can expect to get roughly a 3.3% discount and even more. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, a lot of deals out there to be had. You just need to find them, just need to look for them. Months supply of inventory, which is what I hinted at when we talked about new listings, came in at 1.9, a 35.7% increase in months of inventory. We're steadily going up. We are going to see relatively drastic changes if we get to 3 months of inventory. So time will tell. If right now, May, we get more inventory, June, July, August, if we keep getting more inventory, and the rates I think are going to stay relatively high because they need to stay high, otherwise all hell would break loose, and the demand is slightly lower than our inventory, it's going to build us up and build us up and build us up. So it's possible we might hit 3 months of inventory or so here. I'm going to give you a longer one here in about 8 to 12 months. This can all change tomorrow if something happens. Bank of America, Wells Fargo decide to lay off 20,000 people. All of this will change. If everything stays relatively close to the chest and how it has been, we can definitely see a potential 3 months of inventory, which might be considered a neutral market where it's relatively good for a buyer and relatively good for a seller. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment down below. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye.